Great. So thanks so much, Brad. So I'm Brian McCloskey. I'm a 56-year-old father of three, husband. I was diagnosed 5.5 years ago, and been on an interesting journey ever since. Professionally, I spent the better part of 25 years building personalized consumer experiences in e-commerce and basically in high tech, and then most recently managed marketing for the largest healthcare staffing firm in the country, AMN Healthcare. So really my background is very data and digitally oriented. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, I realized that there were definitely some opportunities in terms of how we use data to better personalize the experience. And I certainly have used my background as a view. Sorry, was there an echo?
No, it is. Yeah, if everyone could mute who's not speaking, that we're good. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. So anyway, so that my background professionally has played a big part in my role in terms of how I've approached my cancer. And really the essence of that is trying to understand my cancer, because I think before you can really treat a patient well, you first need to understand what the disease is all about. And that draws completely from how I used many different types of data to personalize consumer experiences. And to date, I haven't seen anything that would tell me that that analogy doesn't hold true in medicine. There's a ways to go in medicine. And that's really what this is about. It's about how do we get smarter about our diseases, and how do we use that information to more intelligently treat us. So that's it professionally. And personally, my passion and my hobby is surfing. So I live in San Diego, California. I have been a surfer for the better part of 35 years. The ocean is part of my life. And I've somehow managed to pass it on to my kids. And we definitely spend a lot of time in the water, and we're blessed to have San Diego as our playground.
Thanks, Brian. Rick, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Rick Stanton. While surfing is on a theme, I'm a surfer as well. Not as a big time guy as Brian. He's el mucho. I'm like a late beginner. I got two kids, a wonderful wife. I started teaching my daughter surfing when she was 3 years old, and she ended up moving to Hawaii to surf, after getting a biology degree. About me, I'm stage 4. I'm on chemo. I've gone through multiple rounds. My prostate cancer was discovered on a jump in PSA, and just my yearly checkup. It was like, I had no symptoms. It's like, what? And it turns out I have a CDK12 mutation, which is aggressive, but it opens some therapy options as well. So my goal is to, a bit like Brian's, and I'll just say it in a different way. There's, I think, 1,000 clinical trials going on for advanced prostate cancer. And they're targeting about, I don't know, I'll say roughly 25, 30 molecular targets of immune and some inside the tumor cell, which would be called targeted. And I and Brian are at or nearing the end, depending on how you consider standard of care for NCCN guidelines, meaning you first have prostate cancer. It's not contained. We're going to put you on an androgen blocking hormone, and that would be like the first line, and you go through until you hit chemo. And now I'm on my 5th round of chemo, and so it's, what do I do as this fails? Meaning you can't stay on chemo forever. It's maybe not working forever. I'm starting to have some tingling in my fingers. I'm a guitarist, and so that's a bad thing. So my hope is to help Brian, myself, and patients to come on what is the best next therapy after standard of care as we push into immunotherapies and combination conventional targeted and immunotherapies. I have 3 doctors, 4 doctors, depending, so I'm getting multiple counsel, and there are like different doctors will have different clinical trials as an option. I'm finding that none of these are particularly informed by my state. So RNA-seq is typically not used. Mutations are. So my CDK12 mutation is being used to guide my therapy, but that's it. Other than tumor molecular burden and some basics. But I'm hoping to get guidance on which clinical trial or which therapy to try next, with the hope that we could either manage this disease quite well or maybe even cure. So
Great.
making that decision is of which of these many trials, why would it be good for me or a different one for Brian? That's my goal.
Great. So if we could, is there anything more, Brian or Rick, that you would like to say about your medical history? You've just given us sort of the overview introduction. Anything to just set the stage? I know whenever we involve clinicians, that's one of their first questions is, what are the more detail on your treatment history and how your PSA how your PSA has gone up and down and all that.
Sure, Ricky, you want to go, and then I'll chime in.
Sure. My treatments, I was diagnosed in late 2019. My treatments have been salvage radiation, Lupron, and Casodex, which controlled my PSA for 13 months. So that was great. I then went on darolutamide, which is a next generation androgen receptor blocker. That didn't really do so much. And that was a very promising drug for many people. I was on that for 4 months, and my PSA started rising to 3.6. My doubling time was about a month. So it was not being controlled by darolutamide at all, pretty much after the first month or 2. I was determined then I should go on docetaxel chemo, which I've been on since December. It brought me from 3.6 to 2.6, so only a marginal drop in my PSA. I'm at a nodal disease, so I've got 5 or 6 lymph nodes that have tumor cancer in them from my neck to my pelvis, as shown in a combination of CT and PSMA scans. So I'm currently at a PSA of 2.6. My largest lymph node is about a centimeter. It's in the middle of my chest. And I'm requested IHC stains from my primary tumor, which might guide my TILs, or tumor infiltrating lymphocytes, that might predict a bit of responsiveness to immunotherapy. So I hope that.
And just so you heard all that, it's implicit in what Rick is saying, that he is a bioinformatician by background, as he rattled that all off. So you see, he's bald. That's from the chemo, and then you've got that's also obvious. Yeah.
I think the picture on the website was it was in December, so that was 4 months ago, right before I lost my hair.
And Brian.
Sure, I'm going to share just a quick graphic, and hopefully that will make this a little bit easier. First off, I want to just thank everybody for joining. I really appreciate your time. I didn't say that at the beginning, and apologize for that, but I really do appreciate everybody taking time out of their day to join us on this journey. It means a lot to me, for sure. Okay, so I'm not going to get into all of the depth of this. Can everybody see what I'm sharing?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I was diagnosed in 2016, had a radical prostatectomy. You can see in the light blue my DNA mutations, TP53, PBRM1, Temposerg. I went on a number of different treatments, from hormone therapy, radiation, went on a second line hormone therapy with apalutamide. You can see decision number 4. Then I went on a holiday, and as soon as I went on a holiday, my disease came roaring back. My Gleason is a 4-3 with a tertiary grade 5, which would largely explain the aggressiveness of the disease. I ended up having 6 metastatic lesions in my peritoneum. That was discovered in July of 2020. I actually had robotic surgery in August of 2020. From that, we determined that my DNA mutations were the same from my original primary tumor from 2016. Rick did an amazing job of quarterbacking an RNA-seq analysis with Tempus, our friends at Tempus. And there were a lot of findings from that, but of note, there were a few expressions that were, I think, relevant: CD276, CD357, TDO2, and PSMA. My TILs are 0%, which I think, I know Rick.
Preliminarily.
Rick, I think yours is a little bit better than mine, but certainly, not great, right? Definitely some challenges in terms of highly immunosuppressive environment. After my surgery, I started. We didn't get it all right, so I started a systemic therapy. We gave it a shot with chemo and pembrolizumab, Keytruda. I started that in October of 2020. 6 rounds of chemo, and then I remained on Pembro until October of 2021, and then began to see my PSA rise, and lesions reappeared. I was actually no evidence of disease after my surgery, as a matter of fact. Shortly after that. In any event, I started abiraterone in November of 2021, and it's kind of cut off here, but I started, my PSA was at 0.91 and it's dropped to a 0.45. So I am currently responsive to Abby, which is great. But I also, and I don't know how much mileage I'm going to get on this, but I know that the likelihood of becoming hormone insensitive is high. And so really, my objective is to determine what is going to be the next best therapy for me. And this is just a quick snapshot over 5.5 years. This is sort of like what my cancer journey has looked like in terms of just the sheer number of visits that I've had to go through. So, office visits, the dominant one. Labs are huge. Radiation was a big part of my journey early on, imaging, etc. And so, I'm going to go back here for just a second. So as I kind of think about the future, I think about sort of all of the different treatments that are kind of like on the table. I mean, I'm still hormone sensitive. We'll see how that goes, right? This is sort of what that table looks like. And really what I want to do is I want to get much smarter about which treatments can I rule out and which ones are the ones that are going to be most relevant for me. And Today, the way that the decisions that I've experienced are largely made are based upon the stage of disease, metastatic, hormone sensitive, non-hormone sensitive, and then as well as past treatments, medical history, et cetera. And then trying to relate that profile of me essentially to like clinical trials and what I would call almost like sort of like semi-mass treatment response rates. And I just believe that we could do better than that. So, you know, on my journey, we've looked at my DNA. We found some interesting findings from that. I think we found some interesting findings from the RNA-seq analysis. And I just wonder what else we can really find if we continue to look at my profile from a genomic perspective, from a cell perspective, an extracellular perspective, look at my immune system, maybe a few other factors that can help me do a better job of, again, ruling out treatments as well as prioritizing those that are going to provide me with the greatest response. And so, you know, my mission is to live as long as I possibly can. And, you know, this graphic is, you know, one way to kind of depict that. The blue line represents me trotting along and surfing, you know, and enjoying my life with my family. And then, you know, back in 2016, this red line began to appear. And it quickly became apparent that that this could certainly shorten my life. And, you know, I want to be around for when, you know, my daughter, you know, gets married and be a grandfather. I'm 56. And so my mission is to get back to that blue line. I want to get back to living my best life. And I'm so thankful for the amazing care that I have. And there have been amazing advancements. However, I also see that there's an opportunity for us to increase the pace of translational medicine. And I'm so thankful to have Rick and Brad on this journey, because I believe that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to better use the insights that exist in the lab and bring them to the table to be able to treat our diseases more effectively than what we are now. And I have conversations every day with so many amazing scientists and researchers, et cetera, and doctors about how those improvements are happening. And I just want us to take a little bit of a different approach. And I think that this prostate cancer lab represents an opportunity for do that. I am more and more convinced every day that this is a real opportunity. And I hope you'll find that as well. And we're going to have a lot of support along the way, and our full commitment. So I'll stop there, and thank you.